We begin our show this morning in Ukraine. The country is dealing with the aftermath of the first major wave of Russian missile strikes in weeks.
Ukrainian officials say more than 80 missiles were fired overnight, targeting infrastructure facilities across the country. Ukraine's Air Force says it shot down more than 30 cruise missiles. The barrage hit a number of major cities, including the capital, Kyiv, Odessa in the south, and Kharkiv in the east. Strikes were also reported in the western region of Lviv, where at least 5 people were killed. That's according to the local governor. He posted this video on the messaging app Telegram, which he says shows the aftermath of the attack. NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald joins us now with the latest on all this. So, Megan, what can you tell us about these attacks?
Well, Joe, good to be with you. As you mentioned, we're just seeing a barrage of missiles and drones raining down across the entire country of Ukraine, something that we've not seen, as you mentioned, in at least a month from now. So we've been looking at attacks in Kharkiv, the second largest city in Ukraine, all the way down in the port city of Odessa, to the west in Lviv, also in the capital city of Kyiv. Now, right now, we know that the death toll stands at least 9, but of course, officials are saying that that number is expected to rise. Ukrainian officials saying several things right now. The first is that 81 missiles, at least 81 missiles were launched, and that they're seeing this pattern, this tactic by Russia to launch a barrage of their sophisticated missiles first, followed by less sophisticated missiles and drones as a way to try and overwhelm Ukraine's air defense system. But they do say that they were able to block at least 34 of those missiles. And as you mentioned, a typical pattern that we've been seeing throughout the course of the last several months, critical infrastructure being targeted, meaning that people across the country are without heat and without power. We know first responders rushing to the scene there to try and restore power as quickly as they can. But again, we are looking at cold temperatures in Ukraine and a pattern by Russia to attack critical infrastructure. Joe?
Megan, we also understand missiles knocked out power to the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. That's obviously a tense situation. Yeah. What do we know about that? What's the UN's nuclear watchdog saying about it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is now the 6th time that we have seen the result of missiles knocking the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant offline, forcing it to run on those backup generators. We are hearing from the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency expressing frustration that we are here yet again. I want you to listen to a little bit of what he had to say.
This is the 6th time. Let me say it again. This is the 6th time that the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant has lost all off-site power and has had to operate in this emergency mode. How can we sit here in this room this morning and allow this to happen? This cannot go on.
And, you know, Joe, I know you and I have been talking about this a lot when we've been talking about Ukraine. I mean, the big concern here is that the plant now, Europe's largest plant, is operating on these backup diesel generators. It's our understanding now, according to the IAEA, that they have about 15-day supply of the diesel generator. The concern is if they don't get it back online and the diesel runs out, that is when we could be looking at a potential nuclear disaster where you're looking at radioactive activity being released into the atmosphere. So certainly this is a situation that we will be monitoring closely.
Yeah,
Joe.
A major concern that's hung over all this for months now. Megan Fitzgerald with the latest out of Ukraine. Thank you, Megan.
Now to the latest developments in the deadly kidnapping of 4 Americans in Mexico. NBC News has learned from a law enforcement source familiar with the matter that a 5th person was on that road trip this morning. We're getting new details on that. And just last night, a vigil for the group was held at a church in Scranton, South Carolina, a town near the victim's hometown of Lake City. The community mourned the lives lost and lifted the survivors up in prayer.
This could have been any of us. This could have been any of our children, it could have been my son or my daughter. So we didn't come here tonight to point fingers or judge anybody, but yet we're going to pray that God will hold these families, that God will bless them in this time.
NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber joins us now from Lake City with the latest on all this. Ellison, good morning. So I know you were at the vigil last night. What exactly did you hear from the people who attended?
Hazen Clay at Lake City, which, as you said, is the hometown of all 4 victims. It's a really small community. The population here is less than 6,000, so it's not hard to find people who know of the victims or know their parents or are in some way connected to them. This is something that has hit this community very hard because it is so small, because it is so close-knit. What we kept hearing from people is just absolute shock that something like this could happen to people they know from such a small community. They say again and again that they are devastated for the families whose loved ones went on this journey and then never came back, and they are also relieved and grateful that some of them survived. Listen.
The connections are very intertwined. We all went to school together. Lake City is a small community. It's just tragic. We're sad. The whole community is sad. Nobody could get any sleep. And we're glad for the 2 survivors, and we're mourning the deaths of the 2 that were lost.
Everyone that we have spoken to, they say again and again that these 4 individuals, they were super close. They say even from childhood, you would often see all 4 of them together. They weren't surprised that they all had taken this journey as a group, as a unit. One person said she'd seen people on social media saying, why would so many adults be going on this one trip together? And she said, look, a lot of us have Gullah Geechee heritage. And she said, what we are taught by elders in our community is that we stick together and we travel together, in part for our own safety, but just because culturally speaking, this is a community that is very tight, that tries to look out for one another. And one person said to me, if I was driving 45 minutes, I would pick up the phone. I would call a first cousin and say, hey, I'm going to this city. Will you come with me? So they weren't surprised that they were all together, particularly these 4, but they are absolutely shocked that something like this could happen to people they know. Sinclair?
I mean, truly shocking. And the big development now is that we know there was a 5th person who went along for the trip. Ellison, what information do we have on who that person is and why they were not with the group when the other 4 were kidnapped?
So a law enforcement official who is close to this case is telling NBC News that this 5th individual traveled with the group, but then did not cross into Mexico because she lacked the proper documentation. There is a Facebook Live video that one of the surviving victims, Eric Williams, who was shot in the leg, he posted on Facebook at some point during this journey, and you can see that 5th person sleeping in the back of the car as they're making this long trek to Mexico. She has since identified herself in conversations, text messages with the Associated Press. She says that she stayed at a hotel on the other side of the border and that she was actually expecting everyone to be back within about 15 minutes. She said that she thought her friends were going to take Latavia McGee to get her cosmetic procedure and then come back to the hotel. She said she had all of their luggage at the hotel, but then didn't hear from them and started to get worried and notified local police that her friends had gone into Mexico and then had not come back. Zinclay.
So devastating. A lot to follow in this investigation. Ellison Barber, thank you.
This morning, the toxic train crash in Ohio will be in the spotlight on Capitol Hill. Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw is scheduled to testify before Congress today. And in information obtained by NBC News, he's expected to tell the Senate committee that he is deeply sorry about the derailment last month that has shaken that Ohio community. NBC News congressional correspondent Julie Sirkin joins us now. Julie, good morning. So besides that apology, what else can we expect to hear from Shaw? Certainly, we can expect some very tough questioning, right?
Absolutely, Joe. Look, more than a month after this tragic accident happened in East Palestine, we will finally hear from the CEO of Norfolk Southern, Alan Shaw, on Capitol Hill before the Environment and Public Works Committee in the Senate. And the 2 leaders of that committee, Chairman Carper and Ranking Member Shelley Moore Capito, know that responsibility well, and they will use it. In a press call with reporters yesterday, Capito actually expressed her displeasure at the EPA. Carper said they want to get all the facts here to make sure this doesn't happen again. And Shaw will certainly be in the hot seat. In addition to telling lawmakers how deeply sorry he is. He will tell them that the company has committed at least $20 million in investments to the community to help the some 4,000 residents recover from this accident they are still being impacted by. And he said this is, quote, just a down payment on what the company plans to do for the community. He also says that this is part of the company rebuilding their safety culture from the ground up. So that's just some of what we expect to hear from the CEO of that company.
You know, lawmakers will be asking tough questions, but the panel will also hear from a number of lawmakers whose communities have been impacted by this derailment. Senators, not just from Ohio, but also Pennsylvania as well. What can we expect there?
Yeah, exactly, Joe. To set the scene of this hearing, the first panel, before we hear from any officials involved in the cleanup or the CEO of the train company, we will actually hear from both Ohio Senators Sherrod Brown and J.D. Vance. We will also hear from Bob Casey of Pennsylvania. Of course, Fetterman, his colleague, his counterpart, is in the hospital dealing with some mental health issues. So it will just be Casey presenting the case for the residents of Pennsylvania. He will say that, look, while attention has rightly been paid to Ohio residents who have been impacted by this, remember, this happened right along the border of his state, too. And he will share some personal stories of people who were affected by this there. So that will sort of set the scene before Shaw takes the stand.
And Julie, the NTSB is already launching an investigation into the company. It's advised Norfolk Southern to start making improvements immediately. And the company says it is doing that. Real quickly, what do we know about that?
Yeah, this is the first investigation that agency has launched in a decade, and they're saying that because of all of these accidents they've seen under Norfolk Southern, they need the company to come up with a better plan. And you see some of what Norfolk Southern is already doing. They are expanding its operation awareness and response program, and the training of that regional center you see at that top, well, it actually begins March 22nd. So the company says they're already addressing some of all of this criticism.
All right, Julie Sirkin. Thank you, Julie.
Also this morning in Washington, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is in the hospital after suffering a fall. A spokesperson for the senator confirms to NBC News that it happened last night at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in Washington, D.C. His spokesperson said he was admitted to a nearby hospital to receive treatment. In 2019, McConnell fractured his shoulder in a serious fall outside his Louisville home and had to undergo surgery.
This morning, the results of a 2-year-long review by the Justice Department are revealing systemic issues inside the Louisville Police Department. That includes allegations of years of discrimination against minorities. The investigation was launched only after the shooting death of Breonna Taylor made headlines across the country back in 2020. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer has more.
Scathing report from the Department of Justice unveiled a damning assessment of the Louisville Metro Police Department, saying LMPD has long engaged in a troubling pattern of discriminatory law enforcement practices. Investigators from the DOJ cited serious unlawful abuses, especially against black people.
Some officers have demonstrated disrespect for the people they are sworn to protect. Some have videotaped themselves throwing drinks at pedestrians from their cars, insulted people with disabilities, and called black people monkeys, animal, and boy. This conduct is unacceptable.
The troubling 86-page report cites uses of excessive force, unjustified neck restraints, and the unreasonable use of police dogs and tasers. Officers also conducted searches based on invalid warrants, unlawfully stopped, searched, and detained citizens, and violated the rights of people engaged in protected speech critical of policing. The U.S. Attorney General specifically cited a specialized unit originally called Viper.
The unit's activities were part of an overall enforcement approach that resulted in significant and unlawful racial disparities.
The 2-year review into LMPD was launched after the 2020 shooting death of Breonna Taylor. The botched raid in which Taylor was not a suspect helped expose what federal authorities now call a pattern or practice of conduct that deprives people of their rights.
I don't even know what to think, to know that this thing shouldn't have never happened, and that it took 3 years for anybody else to say that it shouldn't have.
The failure to protect and serve at the cost of community trust. The Louisville Police Department, which is not conceding to a pattern of constitutional violations, says it's revamping its training and support services for officers. The city's also working with the DOJ to implement changes. Meantime, after the death of Tyree Nichols in Memphis, the DOJ will review that police department's use of force policies. Back to you.
All right, Miguel, thank you.
Turning now to an NBC News exclusive on a story we've been covering for months. You may remember back in January, a 6-year-old boy was taken into custody after opening fire on his teacher inside a Virginia first-grade classroom. Now, prosecutors tell NBC News that they will not seek charges against the 6-year-old for the attack. Joining us now to discuss this is NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos. Danny, good morning. So while the prosecutor has said that they will not charge the 6-year-old, they did say that once they analyze all the evidence, all the information, they would, quote, charge any person or persons that they believe they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt committed a crime. So who exactly could that be in this case, and why is the 6-year-old then not involved in that?
It could be the parents. It could be anyone who is responsible for giving the firearm to the child. I did not expect them to charge the child for 2 reasons. Number one, even though they theoretically could, how would a 6-year-old form the requisite intent? And secondly, is a 6-year-old competent to stand trial? And that really just tests whether or not the defendant can understand the nature of the proceedings against him and help his attorney. But the adults, to the extent there were any adults involved who participated in or facilitated this 6-year-old getting the gun, they could potentially be charged.
And Danny, hopefully, that child gets the counseling and the care they need. I know a lawsuit is expected to be filed on behalf of the teacher who was shot. What kind of lawsuit can be filed on her behalf now that we know the 6-year-old is not going to be charged?
Well, lawsuit's a different question. I mean, you could file suit against anybody who may have given the child the firearm. But in all likelihood, if you're bringing a lawsuit, you're going to want to find an insurance policy somewhere or a deep pocket to pay a judgment. And it's probably the case that the parents don't have enough money to satisfy a judgment. You may be able to reach their homeowner's policy if they have one. So part of the challenge in finding someone to sue isn't always necessarily the person who's most responsible. That's our civil justice system. You can sue the person most responsible, but they may not have any money to pay a judgment. So the search becomes for any government entity or any private entity with an insurance policy or assets to pay a judgment. And that means you have to do some creative drafting of a complaint sometimes.
So, Danny, if the Attorney General does decide to bring charges against someone in this case, how exactly would they go about doing that?
They simply determine who was the responsible party for providing the firearm to the child, and then they can charge them with some form of negligence or, well, in the criminal context, negligence is really, it's a misnomer. It's more like recklessness. Did they consciously disregard a known risk in allowing a child access to a firearm? And that could be even in the home, possibly not locking it, any kind of risk that they were aware of. It was a substantial risk and they consciously disregarded it. That is a form of criminal negligence. It's a little misleading because civil negligence is really just asks the question whether your conduct fell below the standard of care, whereas criminal negligence is about consciously disregarding a known risk. It's a bit of a bug in the legal system that we have 2 different kinds of negligence for criminal and civil cases.
So, Danny, as our legal analyst, what do you expect to happen with this case, with this incident?
In all likelihood, I mean, law enforcement and prosecutors are going to try very hard to find an adult responsible because they recognize, and I expected they would not charge the 6-year-old, even though you hypothetically could. This is not this would be a almost certain acquittal, even if the case went to trial. So, in the prosecutor's mind, somebody has to pay for this, and they will try very hard to find the adult, to pinpoint which adult, if any, is responsible for giving the gun to this kid, because somebody has to be held accountable if you cannot hold a 6-year-old accountable. While legally you theoretically can, practically speaking, what jury in the world is going to convict a 6-year-old?
Important points there. Danny Savalos, thank you so much.
The West Coast is bracing for yet another storm this weekend.
Meteorologist Angie Lassman has more on that and the rest of your Morning News Now weather forecast. Good morning, Angie.
Good morning, guys. It's been the story, right, for the West Coast all winter long. These atmospheric river events, lots of snow, lots of rain, and we've got another one coming our way. This powerful Pacific storm is going to start inching a little closer to the coast through the day today, and with it comes just a fire hose of moisture. We're talking lots of rain, heavy rain at times, and additional snow that eventually, as the system continues tracking to the east, will spread into parts of the Rockies. But let's talk about the concerns with this system. Flooding is going to be the main one. You can see already 16 million people are under a flood threat, including cities like Sacramento and as far south as Bakersfield. This does inch into parts of Nevada as well, Reno included in that too. Here's why. Sierra foothills, anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rain. Coastal ranges will see anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rain as well. This is on top of already pretty saturated grounds in some spots, and additional snowfall. This is going to happen more like above 8,000 feet. We'll have maybe 2 to 6 feet of snow on top of what is already there. But let's talk about what's already there. We have 200% nearly of the average snowpack that we usually see for this time of year. So it's pretty deep. We've got a lot of snow that we're dealing with. And the current snow level is about 3,000 feet. So after 3,000 feet is when you kind of see a really dense snowpack. But look what happens as we go through the rest of Thursday and into the later parts of your Friday. We start to see this snow level go up, and that means there's heavy rain falling on a snowpack that is now going to melt. We've got warming happening. We've got flooding concerns that are going to take shape. And this is going to be something that we'll deal with here, not just snow, but wet snow at that. That means that the structural issues we saw with this last storm is going to be another kind of situation that we see unfolding in the coming days. Meanwhile, more people in the northern plains and stretching to the Great Lakes are under winter weather alerts from a different system that's going to spread snow from Montana to Michigan. Eventually, we're going to see places like Ohio and stretching for a little farther into Texas dealing with the heavy rain and the potential for some stronger storms through the day today. Joe and Zinclay, this is eventually going to make it to the Northeast by the time your Saturday rolls around.
We just keep waiting for everything to come from the West Coast.
Exactly.
It feels like every week this winter. All right. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.